Mitsuru Sasaki, a skilled Japanese chef with a taste as sharp as a mythical giraffe, possesses an uncanny ability to remember and replicate flavors effortlessly. One day, a bedridden man and his wife reach out to him for a final meal for the dying man. Sasaki arrives at the hospital with a table stocked with ingredients and utensils. The requested dish is a simple fried rice and omelette, but it must mirror the one the couple enjoyed in their youth. As Sasaki deftly wields his knives, a familiar aroma fills the room, transporting the couple back to the mornings of their youth. Touched by the spot-on recreation, they finally taste the dish, overcome with emotion as memories flood in. After savoring every bite, the man declares it his last meal and urges his wife to reward the chef. Though Sasaki is thanked, he remains stoic, driven more by the prospect of the 1 million yen he'll receive to recreate the dish elsewhere. Meanwhile, Sasaki's close friend Ken mourns at a funeral for the director of the children's home where they were raised. Despite their shared upbringing, Sasaki refuses to attend. A flashback unveils that the director never supported their aspirations, leading Ken and Sasaki to flee the children's home during their teenage years. Ken stays in touch with the director, but Sasaki, feeling undeserving, avoids the funeral. Despite repeated calls from Ken, Sasaki hangs up, unaware that it was the director's final wish to see him as a son. We discover Sasaki's restaurant failed, plunging him into debt. His current hustle involves cooking last meals for wealthy clients. In a flashback, the restaurant was thriving and known for its authentic flavors. However, Sasaki's perfectionism led him to discard many dishes that didn't meet his high standards. This created a toxic work environment, causing employees to resent him, and eventually, no one wanted to work with him. The downfall of his once successful eatery became a turning point in Sasaki's life. That night, Sasaki gets a call from an agent asking him to come to China to cook the last dish for someone important. They offer him 3 million yen for a single dish, a deal Sasaki cannot refuse. The next day he lands in Beijing and meets the said important person. He is an old man named Seimei Yo, a chef respected by every Chinese artist. He cooked for generals and emperors during the time of World War II and is regarded as a legend of East Asian and European cuisine. Sasaki is baffled when Yo asks him to cook his final meal instead of doing it himself. The man introduces himself and discloses that his teacher, Taro, taught him everything he knows. Taro played a pivotal role in shaping Yo's career during their time in Manchuria during World War II. Back then, they crafted 112 dishes, each boasting distinct flavors and diverse cooking techniques, becoming rare world delicacies. Sadly, the recipes have vanished, and Taro's whereabouts are unknown. Yet, Yo believes that Taro's recipe book is still out there. Sasaki is tasked with finding the book and recreating those dishes. The catch? A hefty compensation of 50 million yen awaits him. This money could wipe out all of Sasaki's debts. Uncertain about the challenging task, Sasaki turns to Ken's local restaurant with the 3 million yen he received as an advance, seeking advice on whether to take on this quest. Being a good friend, Ken gives him a green light to accept the task because even if he fails, he has nothing to lose. The next day, Sasaki goes to a government office and looks at Naotaro's ancestry. He discovers that the man retired in 1964, but no one knows what happened to him after that. While looking through the pages, someone named Tatsumi catches his eye. He seems to have been a close friend of Naotaro who might know his whereabouts. In the next scene, Sasaki heads to Tatsumi's house, only to discover that Tatsumi has been deceased for over a decade. Tatsumi's wife, however, provides Sasaki with the address of another man who might assist him, Kamata. Kamata, once Taro's assistant in Manchuria, now resides on a secluded mountain, running a modest restaurant. Although Kamata doesn't possess the recipe book, he offers to share how the recipes were conceived. The story takes us back to 1933, where Naotaro, alongside his wife Chizu and a young Kamata, made their debut in Manchuria. A summons from a Japanese army general brought them there, as Naotaro's expertise was sought to craft the most exquisite delicacies. The task at hand? Creating a masterpiece for the imminent visit of the emperor, set to happen in just a few months. Now Taro was granted his private kitchen, equipped with all the necessary ingredients and tools. They were also introduced to a Chinese helper named Yo, who turned out to be none other than the old man, now a retired world-famous chef. Sasaki is taken aback upon learning Yo's identity. On his first day, Yo was quite arrogant, claiming that the Japanese couldn't match the skills of the Manchurians. However, Naotaro doesn't take offense. Instead, he challenges Yo to cook something for the family, dismissing his comments with a simple, "Shut up and cook, you peasant." Yo impresses everyone with a watermelon dish, and Naotaro effortlessly duplicates it, revealing his exceptional taste memory. They collaborate, creating a delightful Manchurian spring roll. Fast forward, Kamata replicates it for Sasaki, who suggests reducing the salt, reminiscent of Naotaro's critique. In Manchuria, Naotaro, Chizu, and the team craft 112 dishes, introducing the concept of assigning them to 4 seasons. The wall showcases their diverse creations. Naotaro faces the challenge of discerning exceptional dishes and discarding average ones, leading to a montage of experimentation. Until then, Naotaro had only trusted his own craft, doubting whether Yo and Kamata could contribute great ideas. Chizu understands that letting go of this arrogance is crucial for them to succeed in their journey. A few days later, Chizu gives birth but tragically passes away shortly afterward. Not even an hour later, the head cook discovers Naotaro in the kitchen, cooking something. Accusing him of being heartless, Naotaro reveals he's preparing Chizu's favorite dish. In her memory, they share a feast. Now, the responsibility of raising his newborn daughter falls solely on Naotaro's shoulders. In the present, Kamata pauses in his storytelling and hands Sasaki the address of a Russian man named Joseph. To learn more, Sasaki must go to him. Upon reaching Joseph's restaurant, he discovers Joseph has passed away, but his son Robert is willing to share the details. Robert and Naotaro's daughter, Misa, were best friends at one point in history. During one event, Naotaro is summoned to cook for a Jewish exchange party where he meets Joseph. This is also when Robert and Misa first cross paths. Initially having differences, Naotaro eventually impresses Joseph with his non-traditional cabbage roll dish, incorporating elements from Russia, Japan, and China. It becomes a perfect dish for uniting people from these nations. This moment marked the beginning of Naotaro and Joseph's enduring friendship. In the present, Sasaki presents the cabbage dish that Joseph's restaurant continues to serve, and once again, he's astounded by Naotaro's prowess. After relishing the flavors, Sasaki can't help but ask about the whereabouts of the recipe book with the 112 dishes. Robert unveils a story from the past. Naotaro had rushed to Joseph one afternoon and, in a hurry, entrusted him with the recipe book along with a letter. During that time, Manchuria was teeming with spies from various communist parties. Naotaro was informed that Yo, their trusted companion, was accused of being a Chinese spy. Allegedly, Yo not only kept tabs on them but also sold their precious recipes to outsiders. The betrayal was a severe blow, prompting Naotaro to expel Yo from the base, sternly instructing him never to return. The revelation adds a layer of complexity to the story, revealing the espionage and betrayal that unfolded during their time in Manchuria. Sasaki is left in shock when he realizes that the person he encountered at the beginning of this journey was the supposed villain. However, Robert drops another bombshell, revealing that Naotaro had asked Joseph to hand the recipe book to Yo. This means the old man had possession of the recipes all along, yet he still made Sasaki go through all these hoops to find it. Finally piecing together the puzzle, Sasaki confronts Yo, demanding to know the last piece of the puzzle. Yo maintains that he doesn't have the recipes and urges Sasaki to read the last letter left by Naotaro. In the letter, Naotaro discloses a shocking truth. He was tasked with poisoning the Japanese emperor during his visit to their establishment. The army general is being paid handsomely for this sinister plan and extends the same offer to Naotaro. If the plan succeeds, they will pin the blame on Yo, citing him as the poisoner because he is Chinese. To add to the betrayal, Kamata, who has been a part of Naotaro's team, turns out to be a Japanese spy sent to keep a close eye on Naotaro and the group. Facing an offer he cannot refuse, Naotaro kicks Yo out of the establishment to save his own life. However, the persistent general continues to pressure Naotaro to cook for the emperor and poison the food. The night before the trial, Naotaro copies a second recipe book and hands it over to Joseph. On the day of the trial, he burns the original copy, infuriating the general as his sinister plan unravels. In the aftermath, Naotaro finds himself imprisoned, seeking forgiveness. Kamata attempts to break his master free, but before he succeeds, the general shoots Naotaro dead. His daughter, Misa, is left in the care of the head cook, who treats her as his own daughter. With the onset of the Sino-Japanese War, he takes his son and Misa to Japan, aiming to safeguard their lives amid the tumultuous times. Yo reveals that he built connections with influential Japanese figures, climbing the ladder of success in the process. Kamata, on the other hand, goes off to war. Several years later, they reunite and embark on a quest to find Misa, realizing she is the true heir to the recipe book. They locate Misa, who is still in the care of the head cook and his son, whom she affectionately calls her elder brother. Misa, now a mother herself, has a little son, but her husband is discovered to be deceased. Upon learning about her father's fate, Misa breaks into tears and makes a heartfelt promise to open a restaurant using Naotaro's recipes to honor his memory. B. Tragedy strikes on the day of the restaurant's opening when a fire breaks out. In a heroic attempt to save the precious recipe book, Misa loses her life. Her poor child cries out for his mother, but she never returns. Miraculously, the recipe book is spared from the flames. In the aftermath, Misa's elder brother, taking responsibility for her son, establishes a children's home for less fortunate kids. It dawns on Sasaki that the child is none other than himself, Naotaro's grandson and Misa's son, who lost his family but was raised by his uncle in a children's home. Yo orchestrated this mission to help Sasaki unravel the history of art in his family through research. In the end, the director, knowing Sasaki is the rightful heir, wanted to meet him before passing away. Instead of receiving the recipe book outright, Sasaki embarks on a journey around the world, earning a handsome $50 million. Ultimately, it seems like he made the right choice. The concluding scenes depict Sasaki's return to the children's home, where he pays respects at his uncle's shrine. Finally, he receives the recipe book, discovering pictures of his family within its pages. Despite his uncle's reluctance for him to become a chef due to the family's past struggles with food obsession, Sasaki, in the final scene, honors his grandfather by recreating his dishes for the children in the establishment.